Hello and welcome back to another Forgotten Hope tutorial. This video is going to be about artillery. There has been a video already about spotting for artillery, so if you're actually looking for that one, then search for the Recon Spawn Kit video. And this one will be about shooting these guns using those spots that are made by the Recon class. I myself spawned as a recon class at the moment so that I can show you what to do with the spots. And at first I am going to say something about the different types of artillery in Forgotten Hope 2, because of course we have this type of gun, which is a Soviet made M30 122mm, and it has a long barrel and a pretty large caliber, and if you put the barrel up like this, then the trajectory will curve in a way that the shell will land further away, and if you put the barrel down like it was in the position when I spawned in it, like this, then the trajectory will make the shell land in a much shorter distance. The other two artillery types are the mortar, as you can see here, and the ship's artillery, as you can see here. I'll talk about those later. So, when I am in the gun, I can already show you some stuff, even though there are no targets yet. You can see three words actually in the three terms in the scope. On the left we've got elevation, and on the bottom we got azimuth, and these two things are helping you to show you where you are pointing the gun, and I'll explain more about that when I get a spot. And you can see targets none, and that's simply because I'm in an empty server right now and nobody is spotting for me. I'll make sure that that will change later. Okay, so what do we got? We got 67 shells, and there are different types of shells. The default loaded shell is high explosives, and it just gives a loud bang when you shoot it, and then the reload is pretty okay. Then there is AP. You don't get so many AP shells, but that's mostly because you will be using high explosives most of the time. AP shells are actually meant for direct fire, and you can use them on tanks when you see them, and you will fire not using the targets, but you will use this scope, and then you can just shoot tanks when they approach you. This is especially useful on a map like Elm Alpha, where there are artillery guns which can be attacked in a certain phase of the battle. And last but not least, there are smoke shells, and they do what you expect them to do. They make a lot of smoke, and this is especially useful on a map like Omaha Beach, where there's a ship with artillery, which is actually the third type of artillery that we have in the game. But and the ship can fire huge smoke clouds on the beach, making it a lot easier for the American soldiers to cross it. When you run out of ammo, which is not really a rare thing with artillery, then you mostly will find ammo pickup kits next to the artillery gun. And I'll just show you what it does. It has this ammo crate here, and when I'm going to drop it next to the gun, I only need one. Get two, but that's for when then I can shoot. And I will fire the gun, and then it will immediately reload a shell into my inventory because I got this kit. And you can see that whenever I fire a shell, it doesn't really matter for the grand total because it will be replenished immediately because I got this ammo crate thing next to my gun. which is a really nice thing because that means that you can fire artillery continuously. The other way to replenish artillery successfully is by using the ammo truck, but there's no ammo truck on this map, so we'll have to make do with the crates. They resupply shells up to a certain number, and there will be a point at which they will be empty. Then you can just drop the second crate if you want, so it's not very wise to drop them together. And if you still have the ammo kit, you can replenish it at a normal ammo point and it will reload more crates. Okay, so that's about the ammo situation of the artillery guns. Now let's do a spot. So I'm spotting the pack guns on the hill. Remember to not spot the AT gun itself, but just below it on the ground, or the gunner will not see it. Now that I spot it, you can see my spot on the map, and the gunner can also see it on the map. Okay, so two things to notice. In the top left corner it says current spot by, and then my name. In game you will mostly see other people's names, and it says high explosive because I spotted for a high explosive spot. And remember that you can also spot for smoke if you want. As it is, elevation is actually almost on 0. Now put azimuth also on 0 and right click, and then you can see the AT gun. Now fire a shell. And it's almost on the target, but it was a bit too high, so we lower the gun a bit and we fire again. And now you can see that you hit the target spot on. If a target is moving out of the spot, then you can just follow it. Adjust by only a few degrees each time and then fire again for effect. And then you can see if you have to adjust and raise the gun for further away, or lower the gun for closer by, or to the left or to the right. Remember that the signals will go to the left when the gun goes to the right and the other way around. If you get a different spot, then you might see just the arrows and not the azimuth or the elevation at all. Then move the gun in the direction that the arrows are pointing and you will end up at the azimuth. And if you want to shoot at the new target, then just right click again and fire the shell. Oh, okay. We don't see the shell, so we are going to change to smoke shell. Smoke shell, make sure that you have smoke selected. And then fire again, because if you fire a smoke shell, you will see a white trail across your spot. Oh, okay. Well, obviously the smoke shell is working, so the high explosive shell should be landing in the same location. Sometimes you don't see it explode, and it's because the high explosive shell is hitting something on the way between your gun and the target, like a tree or maybe a house or something else. Especially in urban areas, it might be very difficult to hit targets that are spotted for artillery. The streets of Ganyi on Operation Goodwood are quite infamous for that. Another way to check if your shell is hitting something in the trajectory, especially when it's close to your gun, is just firing it over open sights like this. Oh, it's not hitting the tank right in front, so it should be good. At the moment my spot is expired, and that's because a spot has also a time to live. It says in the top left corner, spot expired, and the spot will expire faster if the spotter died and right after he spotted the target. So sometimes you'll get a new spot and then you can't use it because the spotter died and the spot expired really fast. There's also a comma rose for when you are in the gun, and it has a spotting ability, because when you are in the bird's eye view of the spot and you spot something that you want to mention to your teammates, you can just say that you are spotting a tank, and the tank will appear on the spot or in the map, as you can see here on the mini-map, and more clearly visible when expanded, of course. The other points in the comma rows are for simple things like yes and no. You can ask to people to hold fire or to fire. You can request repairs. That's especially useful for when you have been under attack by fighter planes, because fighter planes can damage your gun and even kill it. And if they didn't kill you, then you might need repairs. You can also request a target when nobody is spotting. This is the view that you see when there are no spots at all. You will see yourself from the top. You can use the request target also if you get spots but they are empty, like mine at the moment. If you don't see any enemies, then it's useless to waste shells on a target like this. So you just request target, and because the spotters know that they did spot something, it's nice to type so that they know that the battle has progressed and that the enemy has moved out of that area, and then they will respot for you. You can also request a target and then ask a certain spotter to respot the same area, because it's a very good spot and it might expire. If you get more than one spot, you can choose next target or previous target if you want to switch between spots. And how that works is shown in this clip. Ooh, nice. There's a squad there, and it's like crawling like ants.
Ants or ants?
Ants.
Okay. I was for a while I was picturing like trees throwing rocks and stuff. Like in Lord of the Rings.
You could also notice in the clip that instead of targets 1, there's only one spot right now because I did it, there was the word many, and that means that you can choose between various spots made by recon class on the map. So now that we've discussed the field guns, let's go take a look at the mortars and the ship artillery, the other two types of artillery in Forgotten Hope 2. This is one of the other types of artillery that we have in Forgotten Hope 2. It's the mortar, and it's the most common artillery piece present in the mod, because not only do we have static mortars like on this location here, but there are also pickup kits with mortars, like you could see in the video about pickup kits. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate for a little bit the difference between a mortar and a field gun by spotting that area over there. Okay, I'll just put it on 0 and 0, just like you always should do. And when I put it on the right-click view, the bird's eye view, I fire my first shell. It will take a while before it lands, because I launch it in a very high trajectory. As you can see here, the mortar is almost vertically positioned, so that means that the shell will go straight up in the air, and it will travel quite a time before it will land. Okay, so just one more for effect. Now when I when I want to have the shell landing closer to me, then I should put the barrel up even further, like this. And in the field gun, this will mean that the shell will fly further away, but in the mortar it will mean that it will land closer to me. As you could see right there. And if I want it to land further, I have to put the barrel down, so the shell will have a flatter trajectory, as you could see there. You can also see that in short distances like this between the spot and the gun, that the degrees really matter. So again, if you are adjusting, please adjust by only a few degrees each time, so you can see what it does and not over or undershoot your target. Okay, this is the ship's artillery. It's the third type of artillery that we have in the game, and you can see that the arrows point to the right, so I have to aim the gun to the left. The elevation is on 0, and I'm going to put azimuth on 0 as well on my own spot that I made on the beach. If I want to spot here, I have to press X, because the right mouse button also fires a gun, as you could see here. This is the left mouse button gun, and the other one is the right mouse button gun. This is Omaha Beach Map, and a property of Omaha Beach Map is that there's a cliff, and most targets are on the cliff, as you can see here, the machine gun nest. Because both guns are in a different position, you might get the zeroing in done for one gun and not for the other one. Ah, that was a nice hit. Okay, so I had to undershoot it for a little bit, and that's because of the cliff that the target is on. Okay, that's it for this video. If you have any questions or remarks, please post them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.